right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bracha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Neither shall any plague come nigh thee, thy dwelling. So like it, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. And that is from Psalms the 91st chapter, which Lord's will, we're going to read that whole chapter. And this was a title that came earlier to me this morning off of Psalms 91. Just thinking about, the whole situation of how the world is being moved and conditioned into accepting this vaccination that they're going to be rolling out pretty soon. And this is the scripture that came to mind when I was meditating on that earlier. And, Spirit pretty much compelled me to write it down as a title for the lesson. A couple of scriptures came to mind. I wrote down, so I only got a couple of precepts to go through, which is really a couple, 3 chapters and a couple of other scriptures, and whatever else the Spirit feeds me, I'll feed you, brothers. And if the Spirit hits me to, check on the comment board, which I don't always do, so lock it for that. I know brothers be putting good scriptures up there. When the Spirit hits me, if I happen to glance up and see some good precepts, I'll go through, which I know they're always good. But nevertheless, like I said, I was meditating on this vaccination. You have Trump talking about he's gonna use the military in a powerful way, to push or to administer these vaccines. We know, pursuant to the scriptures, that this time of trouble is going to be very perilous. We know that scriptures say there shall be like madmen sparing none. I happened to watch that movie Bushwick again. I believe I watched it yesterday or the day before. And pretty much they showed you a so-called private army that was rolling through Brooklyn, taking people out, and people look at that as just entertainment, or that would never happen, but it's something called predictive programming. So you got to imagine this. You have billionaires investing money in these vaccines. And when someone invests money into a particular product, they're investing their money in order to get a kickback, in order to make a profit. So there's no way that these devils like Bill Gates and others have invested all these billions of dollars into these vaccines and are just going to let it go away without making their money back and quadrupling, making it 100-fold the money that they invested. And this is why the legislation is getting so draconian. This is why they're talking about checkpoints. This is why they're talking about contact tracing. This is why they're talking about, if people don't take this vaccine, they won't be able to work. They won't be able to buy anything. They won't be able to go here, there, The ones that are not vaccinated will be very restricted. And this is the devil's way, which when I say devil, I'm talking about the so-called white men, the Edomites. This is their way of pushing this draconian legislation. Now I want to read, I got 2 precepts in mind that just, one of them, they just both came to mind. Let me just grab them. And I want to speak on this other article that I ran across here in Connecticut. All right. I got this one preset. Let me get the other one so that we can get rolling. All right, so let me read this one first. Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. And this is the deal. And this is why it's the statement that Maya M. Shelbauer made was so profound in the sense of, you know, the mentality that these devils have. Give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes the laws. Now that's a profound statement, because that covers a broad stroke. Because if you control the money, you control the legislation. And that's pretty much what he was saying in a nutshell without saying it. There's a saying, money talks and bullshit walks. Scriptures speak about money being a defense, money answering all things. You know? So that was, you know, heavy. He said that, and we're seeing the fruits of it this day. Because through the Federal Reserve that was contrived, I guess, for lack of better words, or conceived back in 1910 through that they had in Jekyll Island in Georgia. 3 years later, they came up with the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve in 1944, under the Bretton Woods Agreement, out in New Hampshire, I believe it was, gave the American dollar the position of the world reserve currency, you know. So through the creation of this Federal Reserve, through the creation of this money out of thin air, they were able to gain control not only of America's monetary or their economy, but of the world. Because once the dollar became world reserve currency, all other monies had to be converted into dollars in order for them to be able to trade against the dollar. So, which leads me to the next scripture. This is the book of, I just went past it. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and their right grievousness which they have prescribed. And these things have been written. And that's why we read about that beast that came up, that spake as a lamb and had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. Because that particular beast, which is America, actually pushed the legislation that we're seeing today that would pretty much bring the world to their feet, you know. And we're seeing that happening now. There was an article I ran across, which I sent it to the elders, bishops of Connecticut, and Elder Ayatun, or Bishop Ayatun, sent me a text back that he had just ran across that. There were two individuals from Connecticut that went traveling. And when they came back from Florida and from Texas, they didn't follow procedure that they were supposed to follow because of them so-called hot zones. And they both got hit with $1,000 fines. So that started a trend. You see, this is that legislation. These are those draconian measures, because that's all they need is one example, two examples, and that'll start the wheel in motion. Remember that movie Dragon, with the guy that played Bruce Lee. You know, when they went to that place that he was gonna rent for his place of workout, what did he do? It was quiet in there. He threw a pebble, and once that pebble hit, he said it had started. So pretty much it has started. You know, this draconian legislation has already rolled out. Next thing you know, it's going to go from the quarantines, from the restriction of travel, to the mandatory wearing of masks, you know, and you will get fined or in prison. And then from this point on, it's just going to get worse and worse, you know, while the rest of the world is lollygagging, you know, got their thumb up their ass, twirling on it, you know, shit is moving forward. The prophecies are moving forward, you know, and the left-hand side of the Most High, which are these international bankers, are moving forward, you know. So that's what we're witnessing. So that's why it says here in Isaiah 10:1, woe unto them, meaning destruction unto them, that decree unrighteous decrees, because those are unrighteous decrees. You know, having somebody wear a mask over their face and force them to breathe in their own exhaust, breathe in their own, it's almost just like putting a tube from somebody's ass to their face and making them eat their shit. You know? Sorry I had to get so graphic. They call me a graphical sometimes. Sorry I had to get so graphic, but that's pretty much the same shit, because it's all exhaust, it's all waste. And they're making people breathe that waste back in under threat of fines, under threat of jail time, and eventually. And seeing that these two individuals were hit with those $1,000 fines, that means that they ain't playing. That's why Bill Gates, with that devil Bill Gates, with that devil she-male wife of his, you know, Melinda Gates, he said that they didn't take the first wave serious, but they're going to take the second wave serious, and he had to fight back laughing, because these devils have plans, man. Psalm 64 cements that they do it. They have a diligent search that they have going on with this different legislation. They're just pretty much toying with the people, you know, seeing how people react. And someone said, I can't remember who it was, someone said that this coronavirus thing with the lockdown of the world, they said they can't believe it worked. Well, obviously those insiders are not too bright, and they're pretty much boneheads, because these people are already ready to go. You know, and that just shows you that the Most High, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, is in control. Because you're putting up an agenda that you want to push, but you're not sure if certain things are going to work. That's why you try to, you know, test certain things out here and there. So when they start rolling this stuff out, you know, the elect of Yahweh Bashem El Shai don't have anything to worry about. Now I'm going to read the key verse of the title of this lesson, Neither Shall Any Plague Come Nigh Thy Dwelling, which is located in the book of Psalms, chapter 1, and 10. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. So now why is that? Well, because the elect are the elect. And guess what? The elect will be doing the things that are pleasing in the sight of the Lord as far as his work is concerned. You know, now the elect are not perfect. They're going to go off. But as far as doing the work of the Lord, his bidding, they will be doing it. And that is a part of the hedge that the Lord will put around the elect. So now as we jump to the first verse, Psalms 91:1, it says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So what is the secret place of the Most High? This knowledge. I believe there's a scripture in Jeremiah, the 8th chapter, I believe it is. Yep. This is Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 13. And it reads, I will surely consume them, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree. And the leaf shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them. Now this goes back to prior to the Babylonians sacking Jerusalem, besieging it, and destroying the temple, and putting the people in captivity. But we could apply this to today also, because it's the same thing, but it's just a different time frame under a different nation. Verse 14, why do we sit still? Now this is Jeremiah speaking. Speaking to who? Pretty much speaking to the elect. Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves and let us enter into the defensed cities. Now, what are the defense cities? Back in the days, you had fortified cities where you would run into the walls, and the enemy had a hard time breaching those walls. And then if they came too close, you were able to hurl stuff at them from the top and destroy their armies. These defense cities, I remember High Priest Ariel broke this down years ago. These defense cities represent the tribes. You know, this truth, which is this truth ultimately, but this truth consists of what? We know that this truth is only given to the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and the speckled bird Israelites out there that are among the nations that look like those nations, but whose fathers are Israelites. So those defense cities represent this truth. It also represents the tribes, because we're coming back. What is the Lord doing? He's building up the tabernacles of David. And in building up the tabernacles of David, he's given us the name Yahweh, the name Yahushai, our nationality, and we're putting that back on as per Ezekiel the 37th chapter. So as the flesh is coming upon the bones and the sinews and everything coming locked together, that is a part of the defense. So it says, why do we yet sit still? Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves and let us enter into the defense cities, and let us be silent there. Why? Because no evil shall be able to touch us as long as the Lord has his hedge about us. Right? It says, and let us be silent there, for the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, our power, hath put us to silence and given us the water of gall to drink, because we have sinned against the Lord. So when all hell starts breaking out, we're going to have to go into those defense cities, which is a representation of this truth of our nationality, of our tribes, you know, because this truth is a defense, as we're going to read in Psalms 91. As we, you know, and I'm going to get to that. Let me see if there's any more here. It says, we look for peace, but no good came, and for a time of health, and behold, trouble. So in these troublous times, what should we be doing? Should be seeking the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the things that are pleasing unto him, so that when these things do come to pass, we can be protected. This is back to Psalms 91, and I'm going to read one again. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, meaning under the protection. You know, because the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to have the angels to be our bodyguards in this time. It says, I will say of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. Because all things are possible through him. Because without, as the lesson we did, what was it, a couple of days ago, you know, we're in a no-win situation without Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we could do all things. So it goes on to say, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. So what is a snare? A snare is a trap. What is a fowler? A fowler is a bird catcher. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. And we read in scriptures like Psalms 124, one of my favorite chapters, Psalms 124 and 7, it says, our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. It says the snare is broken and we are escaped. See? So the ones of us, or of you brothers, whoever be that has to go down that route, that gets caught up in these detention centers, like the dream or vision that Elder Kazak had from the Mississippi camp, there will be a deliverance from those things of the elect. Now you will have those that have to glorify the Lord by death, you know, and may the Lord give us or them men the inner fortitude to endure whatever it is that's coming, to glorify Yahweh B'Shem Shai in that fashion, in that manner. So it says, our help is what? In the name of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai, who made heaven and earth. Because the scripture said that the name of the Lord is a strong tower. So how can the name of the Lord not be important? How can the Lord have all these different scriptures saying how his name is important? His name is a strong tower. You trusted in my name, so I'm going to deliver you, you know, and not give us the name. This is like total retard status, you know, for those that don't believe that the Lord gave us his name. So going back to Psalms 91 and 3, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noise and pestilence. What is the noise and pestilence? Ultimately, the nuclear missiles. You know, that's going to make that noise when they start rocking the earth. But the snare of the fowler is a representation of what? Martial law, concentration camps, FEMA troops, UN troops, and all of that flood that's coming to the world. And the main persecution is coming against who? The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's who's going to be the most at risk in these times. It goes on to say, he shall cover thee with his feathers. What are his feathers? His feathers are a representation of the chariots. Let's go real quick to Psalms, the 68th chapter, and the 13th verse. It says, though ye have lain among the pots, meaning though we've been in a low condition, yet shall ye be as the wings of a dove, covered with silver, and the feathers with yellow gold. So we know that that's talking about the chariots, because there's no dove out there that has silver and feathers with silver and gold on them, because an analogy Elder Pastor made years ago at the school in Connecticut, when he was breaking this down, he says, because if you have a dove that has silver or gold on their wings, what's going to happen? Their wings are going to get too heavy for them to fly. So what is it speaking about? This is speaking about the chariots. It says, when the Almighty scattered kings in it, it was white as snow and salmon. It says, the hill of the Most High is as a hill of Bashan, and high hill as a hill of Bashan. Why leap ye high hills, meaning you other nations? This is the hill which the Most High desireth to dwell in, meaning the Israelites. Yea, the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai will dwell in it forever, because the Most High made that promise to Abraham. It says the chariots, which is letting you know that that dove with the gold and silver feathers was talking about the chariots. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. And you can read about that in the book of Deuteronomy. You know, how the Lord came from Mount Paran. All right, so now let's go back to Psalms. I'm sorry, before I read that, let's go to Isaiah. I got Psalm on the brain. Go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 8. It says, who are these that fly as a cloud and as a dove to their window? See? So what is that? That's talking about the chariots. And it says back in Psalms 91 and 4, he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. So it means that there is going to be a protection from something, which is called what? Salvation. So when are we saved? When the Lord delivers us out of here, not prior to that. That's another thing these wacky-tacky Christians say in the churches, that they're saved. Saved from what? There's still impending danger coming. The ones that get beamed up into the chariots, then you can say, well, I'm saved. And that's why in Revelation 15, I believe it is, the men that were delivered, they gave such a great praise to the Lord for delivering them from that impending danger, from that doom that was coming. This is Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers. What is a chamber? It's a room that you go into. These chambers are speaking about what? The rooms, or the room or rooms of the chariot, where there's going to be a protection from this destruction. It says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee, just like Noah did, right? Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed, because this is going to take 1 hour. It's going to be easy work for the Lord to take this place out, 1 hour. So it says, hide yourself for a moment until the indignation be past. What does the word indignation mean? Righteous anger. That hot fury that the Lord is going to unleash on this place that he's been waiting to do. That's why he says he's long suffering. And when he gets to tear it into this place, man, it's going to be devastating. And really the main place to be, especially on this side of the world, would be up in the air in the chariots, because this earth is going to be rocking and rolling, as per Isaiah the 24th chapter. So now going back to Psalms 91 and 4, it says, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Let's look up those two words, because this truth is the shield and buckler of the elect, and it's going to be precious to the elect, and they will treat it as being precious because they understand the the seriousness or the gift of this truth, and how this truth is going to be a covering. This is the garment that Yahushua spoke of in book of Revelation. To keep your garments, at least they see you naked. This is the garment. The same thing that people are scoffing at, the breakdowns of the scriptures, this is the garment. But most of them are laughing at it. So the word for shield is tazanah, something piercing, hook, barb, meaning dubious, coolness, cold as snow, shield, large shield, buckler, shield. So it's a shield, it's a buckler, it's a something for protection. And the word buckler is macharah, buckler, shield. Pretty much the same thing, something surrounding the person. And what is that something surrounding the person? What we read in the book of Ezekiel 9 and 4, that mark in the book of Ezekiel 9 and 4, when the Lord said, come not near anyone upon whom is the mark. And when you look up at that word mark in the Hebrew word there is kwai. And the word kwai means exemption from judgment. I'm sorry, not kwai, thawa. Kwai is Leviticus. The word in Ezekiel 9 and 4 is thawa, which means exemption from judgment. That's why it says, come not near anyone upon whom is the mark. And that's why here it says, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler. That's what's going to be in the spirit, in the mind of the elect, that's going to shield them from impending danger. Just like the blood of the doorposts in Egypt covered those Israelites from having any of their firstborns be put to death. Today, this truth, coupled with the blood of Yahushua, which is this word also, which we read in 1 John, the 5th chapter, it speaks about the word and the water and the blood. Those are all a part of that thawa, or that exemption from judgment, or that covering, or that shield, or that buckler, which is what covers a person. It's like a force field, So it goes on to read in verse 5 of Psalms 91, Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, meaning this destruction that's coming, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. And this pestilence is a representation of the missiles, but it's also sickness, because it says that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday, which is mainly dealing with the missiles, as a pestilence. But as we read further down, it says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. It says, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. And that's going to be something, man. It says, because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. See? And how do we make the Lord our habitation? Well, first of all, he has to draw us to Yahushai. Yahushai has to raise us up. And this truth has to be in us. And we, in the keeping of this truth, that's how we dwell in the habitation of the Most High. It says, there shall no evil befall thee. See, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling, because none of that stuff is going to come near the elect, And even if the elect were to get caught up in anything, the Lord would deliver them out of it, It says, for he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. And that's the key. He shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. So now, let's go real quick to the book of Hebrews, the first chapter, and the 14th verse. Matter of fact, I'll start at 13. But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit thou on my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool? So we're talking about the angels, and we're talking about Yahushai, right? Verse 14. And are they not all ministers? Are they not all ministering spirits? Which the word minister means what? Servant. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? See? So they are sent to be the ministers, or the protectors, or the hedge of those that be heirs of salvation. Because you have the inheritance of the kingdom, but the inheritance of the kingdom also comes with the inheritance of salvation. All right? I just wanted to look something up. There was a precept here. I wanted to see what that precept said. Just spare me 1 second. Okay, that goes into joint heirs. All right. So now, let's go from there to the book of Acts. All right. Let's go to the book of Acts, the 27th chapter. And and 21. Right? You know what? Let me start at 20. You can start at the first verse and read this chapter to get the understanding. This is Paul on his way to Rome to see, to appeal to Caesar. And he was on a ship with prisoners, and he told them not to leave the place that they were at because there was, storms and all that. Salaki brothers. And they didn't listen to him. They shipped off anyway. So the ship was under threat of being destroyed. And pretty much he told them, don't worry, no, there's going to be no loss of life, only the ship, So this is part of what he was saying. So we read in here, Acts 27 and 20. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, meaning this was a serious storm, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. It says, but after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, sirs, you should have hearkened unto me, and not have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. And now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. For there stood by me this night the angel of the Most High, whose I am and whom I serve. See? Saying, fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, the Most High hath given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe the Most High that it shall be even as it was told me. So pretty much, he was letting them know that his what they call his guardian, the guardian angel, was there, appeared to him, and said that you're gonna be all right, because you're not gonna die, and nobody here is gonna die, because you got to go and appear before Caesar. So what was that? That was an example of an angel protecting the Apostle Paul. So now, okay, I have low battery, it's saying. All right, so I only got 8%. So I'm gonna have to stop this. Let me just read this. Let me finish reading Psalms 91 and we can close it out. It says, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. It says, for he will give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. See? He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will satisfy him and show him my salvation. So pretty much the elect of the Lord are going to be delivered. I don't know how much of that got caught, because the feed cut out because my battery is low. So I'm gonna have to end it there. Lord's will, if Spirit hit me later, maybe I could revisit the same chapter and do a part 2 to it, because I still have more precepts. So with that, Salaka for that, brothers. I thought usually I listen to my phone and watch videos and stuff and still do my my lessons and still have enough juice to get through it. But obviously today has not been one of those days. All right, so with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. And like I said, if the Spirit hits me, Lord's will, I do a part 2 to this. Shalom.